Hi everybody. Well, this week is Aristotle, and then toward the end of this week we're going to look at Hobbes and Machiavelli and a little bit about some of what's called the new sciences. But anyway, let's get started with Aristotle. Aristotle is dramatically different than Plato. As Plato is going to say that the forms are the most real, Aristotle says the most real is actually the material world. And there's a famous painting by Raphael called The School of Athens, and you can see Plato is an old man with a bald head, and he's pointing up, the most real is the ideal, whereas Aristotle is standing by his side as they're walking down the steps, and his hand is down, and he's going to say the most real is the material. And there's this big difference between Plato and Aristotle that really sets off the whole Western civilization as we know it. And it's actually a combination of Aristotle and Plato that sets the foundation for Christianity too, by the way. So let's look at the first thing. For Aristotle, material things are required before there can ever be formal things. And so there's a difference between matter and form. Now I'm going to write that up on the board here for a second, see if we can't make some sense of that. So Aristotle says that matter, M-A-T-T-E-R, matter is dependent upon form. And there's this relationship between them. So there can't have anything that's material unless that material is informed. And he continually looks at things being nested inside of other ideas. So let's look and see how this works. This room, for example, let's say is made out of bricks. And the bricks are made out of clay. But what Aristotle would say then is that the clay is the material of which the bricks give form. So you got to have brickness to form the clay. So the bricks are made of clay, that makes the clay the material, and the brick is the form for the clay. Now let's look at the walls. The walls are made out of bricks, which means that the walls give form to the bricks, and so the bricks are the material for the walls. Then you look at the building, at the room. You say, the room is made out of walls, and therefore the walls are the material of the room, and the room gives form to the building, to the walls. The room gives form to the walls. And then you get bigger, you say the building is made out of rooms, and so the room is the material of the building, and the building gives form to the rooms. And you can say the city of Pittsburgh is made out of buildings, they're the material of the city, but the city gives forms to the buildings. Then you can say the state is made out of cities, the cities is the material of the state, but the state gives form to the cities. Then you look at the nation is made out of states are the matter of this nation, and the nation gives form to the states. Then you look at the world is made out of nations, and the nation is the material of the world, and the world gives form to the nation. Then you look at the solar system, the planets are the material of the solar system gives form to the planets. Then you can look at the galaxy, the solar systems are the material of the galaxy gives form to. Then you look at the universe, and then you say, what is it that gives form to all things? And Aristotle says that is the unmoved mover, or, well, of course, God. God gives form to all things. God is purely formal with no matter. And so this is an incredible importance for Aristotle. And you see, this same kind of thinking, each thing works within another thing, leads to everything. And that's why in your book, in Sophie's World, they talk about Aristotle as the first actual scientist. He's the first person who takes ideas about all things come from sensation, and then by looking at the sensory world, we come up with formal ideas. So for Aristotle, there would never be the form of a horse unless you'd seen a heck of a lot of horses. And Aristotle's quite similar to, if any of you who are in philosophy of education or taking education classes, Aristotle's very similar actually to Piaget in this way, because Piaget will also say that you move from a concrete understanding of the world to a more formal understanding of the world. So that's that particular lecture. And the next one we're going to now look at some other details, so I'll be right back in just a second.